What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Broke College Gamers. I'm Brian. It's been a while since we've done a video, but you know what? Today is the day of possibilities. It is a day of accomplishments. I just watched my first episode of Breaking Bad, and we have a new video out. It's been so long. And it's Dark Forces 2, Jedi Knight from 1997. A classic game. I played it a lot growing up. Really enjoyed it. This is the second level from the game, just kind of showing off what it looks like. The gameplay will speak for itself. I'll interrupt at a few points to draw your attention to some cool things, but, such as right now when I jump on this guy and just shoot him, the Imperial, E11 carbine, I think it's called, is really great gun, probably one of my favorites in the game. But yeah, been a while. And I'm not going to talk about the gameplay that much. I'm going to talk about something else related to the Star Wars universe, and that's the whole canon issue, which has had a lot of people up in arms lately. So, what is the deal with canon? Recently, Disney acquired Star Wars, and they made a decision regarding how they're going to be treating canon, because, the sequel trilogy, which I'm really pumped for. They just recently cast Lupita Nyong'o from 12 Years a Slave, and I believe her name is Gwendolyn Christie from Game of Thrones. She plays Brienne of Tarth. They're both awesome actresses. They've been cast in a new sequel trilogy. I'm super pumped to see it. But, with that, they had to deal with the EU and how we have all this material that extends past the end of Return of the Jedi, and how that would make it difficult for anyone to write a decent film. So, Disney established some new ground rules for canon. Previously, before Disney acquired Star Wars, there were different levels of canon. You had G-level canon, which were the films. Nothing can dispute those. Other levels included films were one level. You had, films. Books were one level. Games were another level. The Infinities comics, and different levels could supersede one another in case there was a conflict. So it's, for example, if a book had an event happening one way, but it happened another way in the game, the book form was considered the canon version of what happened. And, a lot of people were very attached to this EU. It's been very expansive since Timothy Zahn's novels. It's really shaped a lot of people's love of the Star Wars universe, so they're very attached. Disney, their policy is that there's one canon, and everything in that is canon. And that's just the films, the Clone Wars cartoon, and their new series Rebels. Everything else and everything new that'll come out. Everything else, this game included, the novels, other games, comics, it's all considered a Legends canon, and it kind of exists sort of on its own, and people feel like this is Disney just saying, your canon doesn't matter, your canon, we're throwing it out the window. I don't feel that way. I don't think that this is Disney, giving the fans the finger, and I think that for several reasons. From an in-universe perspective, Star Wars is the idea of narrative. It's a mythology. It's a story that we tell to ourselves and others. It's this larger concept of these events happened a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, and now they're being retold, re-represented for people. So naturally, there are going to be some deviations, some variations within that. After all, people retell actual historical events with different focuses, different perspectives, and sometimes events, descriptions of them will contradict one another. That's how you can treat things in the Star Wars universe. Be like, oh, well, they say that this happened this way. However, a long time ago, galaxy far, far away, this is how it actually happened. Or this is how I understand it happened. That's the in-universe explanation, but I think that kind of sidesteps the larger issue of why does canon matter so much? Why do we care so much that someone says this event really happened? This is how the Death Star plans were really acquired. This is what actually happened with the war, and wow, I took a knife to the face there, but still came out on top. Kyle Katarn, Chuck Norris of the Star Wars universe. And before I delve back into the canon, this right here was a really fun moment while I was playing. I was like, oh my god. So right here, you're supposed to flip that switch, then you're going to run along these beams that really seem like they move boxes or something, and jump over to that little ledge platform thing over there, take those stairs down, go back down to where you see another one on a lower level. I, however, was distracted by a text message while playing this, and then by the time I looked back up the screen, I started moving back, and I was like, oh no, oh god. So make the jump. Did not expect to survive that, and I was actually really surprised when that happened. And it was a fun moment that I just knew I had to cut the video around to have. So anyway, back to canon. I think people are concerned about the validity of their events, and they're worried about being told, this doesn't matter, this event didn't actually happen. But canon is what you make of it. We choose our own canons. These stories are as much ours as Disney's, Lucas's, whoever's. And really, the whole purpose of story, of fiction, is what we get out of it, what enjoyment we derive, what stimulation we gain. So if I find one variation, one canon, one story to be more engaging, more stimulating, more relatable than another, and that's the story that I want to focus on, that I believe happened, then who is anyone to say otherwise? I think the clearest example, or a good example, is KOTOR 2. The Exile is canon, light side female. I've personally found the male storyline a little bit more interesting because of the handmaid and the relationship with Atris. And who is anyone to say, oh, but whenever you play as a male exile, that didn't actually happen. That's, you know, a nice what-if scenario. What actually happened is, you know, female, yada yada yada. And I like parts of the female storyline, but for me, I found the male storyline more engaging, so that is what I choose to believe is canon. That's what I understand as to be the actual events. That's what I gain the most enjoyment from, the most understanding from. And who's anyone to say otherwise? And that's something that we should all take, a view that we should all share. And I think that will really help solve a lot of issues people have regarding canon and Disney's changes. But that is all the time I have for now. Thank you so much for watching this. Make sure to comment, like, subscribe. May the Force be with you. I'm gonna catch this plane jet thing.